Hello, we're here today interviewing PhD student Grant Brown, who works in the Butte. So Grant, what can you tell us about your research?
Well, my research is basically sort of arthropod biodiversity. My background was in ecology and conservation, and I've kind of carried this on to my PhD work. And what I'm looking at in particular is garden biodiversity, focusing on arachnids and beetles. And I'm also looking at the sort of physical characteristics of the site gardens and trying to relate that to the sort of patterns of biodiversity that we see. And then the sort of output for this is to try and sort of inform conservation policy, so that we can take the sort of vast area of land in Britain that is gardens and try and manage that more effectively for arthropod conservation.
So where are these gardens based?
All my gardens are within St Andrews, so I have 25 gardens dotted around St Andrews, and I was collecting my arthropod samples using pitfall traps, so I had about 101 traps out at any one time. I collected sort of 6 months of data over 2 years.
So in terms of urban ecology, has this sort of research been carried out before?
Not really. This is quite novel in how in-depth it is. Traditionally there's been a lot of taxonomic bias, so a lot of the previous research has been focused on birds, some lesser studies on sort of mammals and things. So really, no one really has a great idea of what's going on with arthropods in gardens and in cities, especially in this sort of level of detail, because I'm covering quite a lot of taxa, in quite depth. So usually people just sort of pick and choose the easier groups within the beetles to look at, and I'm trying to cover everything.
How many specimens and different types of species have you caught throughout your research?
Well, in total, we've sorted through about 24,000 specimens in total, and about 16,000 beetles, 8,000 arachnids. So there's about 70 species of spider, and about 300 or so, or slightly more than that, about 330 species of beetle, which is basically, it's a nice finding because it's roughly the 30% of the total for the whole of Fife is what we found just in 25 gardens in St Andrews, which I think is quite interesting and a lot higher than what we thought.
It sounds like a lot of work that you're doing. Do you feel that the workload is manageable? Working on your own?
It's certainly manageable, I guess, but I mean, I have had undergraduates in the lab come in and sort of help me sort through the samples, which has been a big help, because that sort of work is not too specialised, and I can sort of teach undergraduates the basics required for that. But all the sort of taxonomic stuff, the species identification, you're generating sex ratios and things like that, I've had to do myself.